All right, we're back again, and we're talking about the older, aging narcissists, and a lot of the things that come with narcissists when they age, when they're getting older, when they start to decline in a lot of areas where the once active narcissist that was young, vibrant, was able to acquire many different sources of supply, was on the go, on the move. Once they reach a certain age, the older declining narcissist is what we're talking about today, right? Some narcissists keep themselves up as they get older, right? And that's usually a priority so that they can keep a certain level of supply coming in, right? Because with age, a lot of things, as I said, start to decline. Their physical appearance, their professional status, the social influence often leads to less sources that they can pull from too as well, right? And so all of these things, when a narcissist looks back upon things and see where they are, it leads them into a lot of frustration and depression, and oftentimes desperation as well, because they still need that validation. And without a strong support system, aging narcissists become bitter and very lonely. And this is why a lot of them within old age are even more unbearable than the younger, vibrant narcissists that have the energy and the vigor to be able to entertain and hunt and seek out different sources of supply. A lot of things people ask about, do narcissists change as they age? They experience external changes more than internal, right? Their internal mindset tends to remain rigid. If not, it gets worse, actually, right? More stubborn, more resistant to anything, especially in regards to change. They might adjust their tactics, though. This is one of the things that they usually end up doing because they realize the practicality of what their position has landed them in, that they can't readily secure the type of supply that they used to, and they can't influence people the way that they used to influence people. So they tend to shift their manipulative tactics. Where a younger narcissist relies on their charm and attractiveness, the older narcissist has to, let's say, use more guilt tripping, right? Make you feel sorry for them, right? They really play on the pity play. Older narcissists are gonna play that sympathy role to the T, right? It's gonna be increased tenfold, right? They're gonna be able to, use these tactics in a lot of ways to still get you to check on them, right? To not totally abandon them. Some of you have family members that are elder narcissists, and a lot of people don't want to deal with them anymore. But they still somehow keep a few of you in their circle to come check on them, to come do for them, right? And so those things are where they use the guilt tripping and the helpless, the person, the damsel in distress type of thing. I mentioned that increased vulnerability, right? Aging often brings physical and cognitive decline, which can make some narcissists more fragile, right? And this is another thing where if you're an empath and you see them in this condition, it can pull on your heartstrings, right? Because they're not going to be the, especially if they had cognitive decline, they're not going to be that same exact vicious narcissist that they may have been, right? Because they're not fully in their full mental range of capability. And again, that makes them more vulnerable, more fragile, and it can lead to them having more depression, because now the thing that they don't like which is having to be fully or more dependent upon someone or something to help them. They feel vulnerable, and narcissists do not like feeling vulnerable. That social isolation too is another thing. As the narcissists become more aware, as people at least become more aware of the narcissist's manipulative nature, the aging narcissist finds it harder to sustain relationships and keep people around them in general. And this leads to increased loneliness. This leads to a lot of, I used to wonder why some people would leave their, just abandon their people in like nursing homes and stuff like that, or just abandon elderly people. Some of these people may have been narcissists, and they just completely, destroyed all support systems that they had around them. Right? It's a sad thing, especially if you're an empath and you look at that. This is some of the things that still keep a lot of you intact and around them. Now, they're not going to be especially if they're in a nursing home and they're elderly, with cognitive decline and all this, they're definitely not going to be the same narcissists that they were at a younger point in time, which they're not going to be as dangerous, because now they're more than likely totally dependent on assistance and help from others, and that would be like their caregivers. So a lot of times narcissists in age, when elderly narcissists end up getting exploited by their caretakers, because the more dependent they become, the more they're going to have to rely on other people, right? And at that point, when a narcissist is in that position, they're going to lean towards more or less having attention paid to them. Someone, bringing them, certain necessities and certain care that they're going to need. So sometimes they'll kind of, adjust that narcissistic way that they have, because they at this point they totally need someone. You'll see a decline in the grandiosity too. A lot of aging narcissists will have less overt grandiosity, right? And it'll shift more to covert narcissistic traits. They'll be more passive aggressive than anything. Wallowing in self-pity and martyrdom. That's kind of how they end up being, especially if they're in that type of condition where they absolutely need someone, which a lot of them do end up in. The older aging narcissists end up being alone, and usually in some sort of way where they totally need someone. Problem is they've had so many bad interactions with people in their past that no one wants to be bothered with them. And a lot of people don't even have sympathy for them because in their younger active days, they've done so much harm and damage to people. People don't forget. And so you ask, do they ever seek self-reflection or change? Some narcissists that age may experience moments of self-awareness, but true change is rare without long-term therapy and introspection, which they're not really willing to get into. You know, even when faced with rejection or loss, they will externalize that blame and push it onto someone else rather than accepting accountability. It just won't happen. And that's the state that they stay in. And that's the thing that, like I said, in the end, a lot of these individuals, agent narcissists, become wardens of the state, you know, which is no one wants to deal with them. No one's coming around. No one's there for them at a certain point. And they have to deal with wherever the state puts them. It's usually in some sort of facility or whatnot. And that's where a lot of them live the rest of their lives out at. Sad thing, but unfortunately, because of their behavior and their ways and, you know, being a narcissist, it leaves them in that predicament. If you're dealing with them and you're an empath and you have someone in this situation that you know, it's a judgment call that you have to, for yourself, I would say, have to conclude and come to whether or not you want to involve yourself. You know, that's the only thing I can say. It's going to be based on what you feel, what you think, etc. But the change in them is unlikely. So, but anyway, that's all I have to say for this particular message. If you like, hit the like button. Consider the like. Take care of yourselves. Till next time, have a good one.